And again, we are thankful for the Albina Music Trust because that is exactly what it is. It is an entrustment about the music that happened in this small little city called Portland, Oregon.
I always say Portland was God's little secret, you know, in a lot of ways. It really was.
We are blessed.
Yeah, yes we are. My name is Calvin Walker, and you might say I'm the Zelig of Portland music.
Okay, we're backstage with Calvin Walker, who just did an electrifying performance. I was very impressed with that. Thanks a lot.
One fateful day, I think it was around 2015, 2016, I get this call from this guy. He says, my name is Bobby Smith. Bobby was a DJ at X-Ray Radio.
Yeah, meeting Calvin Walker was the spark that got Albina Music Trust off the ground. Every Friday night I was hosting musicians to come into the studio, tell a little bit of their story, and we could listen to their music.
Lord, I will truly love you. You're in my heart.
And a lot of what we're doing here this evening started with the conversations that we had, right? About black music in Portland, Oregon. From interstate to Mississippi, Fremont to Lombard. Those beautiful times that we used to have in that neighborhood because it was our neighborhood.
And pretty soon, more and more musicians were coming in, bringing their photography, film, reel-to-reels, cassettes, and saying, hey, you know, I haven't listened to this material in 40, 50 years. Could you help me to document it? So we quickly responded and found ways to digitize the material and share it with those musicians, give them opportunities to share with their families, with their community, make CDs, DVDs, all of that. And now we're a full-on community-based archive. So this is a preservation effort. We've been working for a number of years to learn more about the musician community in Albina, and part of that learning is through the media and the documentation that exists, as well as the oral history. It's not just the musicians who are proud of this work, it's the community.
I don't think you're going to see a more extensive presentation of jazz, blues, funk, you know, black music from Oregon over the last 50 or 60 years. Pretty incredible, right? The reason why that music was able to thrive and all those musicians were able to survive is because there was a community that supported that. There must have been, at the height of it, 20 jazz clubs, and every night it was popping. And where we were situated at the time, nobody thought it was that convenient. And then as time progressed, people started thinking, well, we kind of like that neighborhood now.
There's something surprising happening in the south end of what most Portlanders think of as Albina. It's already reached the street where Ron Herndon lives.
Like the house over here, there's a black family that lived in there. They got old and moved out. White family moved in, and up the street there are a couple of other houses, exact same thing is happening there.
And now the traditional residents of those communities can't afford to be there. So that black community has been spread out literally all over the Portland metropolitan area.
Wherever you find black people, you're in Albina. And now I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Paul Nall Sr., the mayor of Albina, Oregon.
I bought a club called the Cotton Club, and it was going down, 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 down. I was able to make a deal, bought the club, got it going, and it turned out to be something else. Like you could go home after you've been to Portland, you go back and tell people you've been to Portland and say, I've been to Portland. I said, you go to the Cotton Club? He says, no. So you ain't been to Portland then. That's the kind of action that was going on at the Cotton Club. We really had groups that went out and became national. Mel Brown, he started out at the Cotton Club, went on with Earl Grant, and he played for Martha and the Vandellas, he played for Stevie Wonder, he played for Marvin Gaye. Then he went on the road for 12 years with Diana Ross. He came right out of the Cotton Club at 2125 North Vancouver Avenue, the only nightclub on the West Coast with wall-to-wall soul. So we had it going on.
When you see that smile, you know that you're in the good graces of Mr. Knowles. He's been an ambassador for our work. He has connected musicians to the project and also just been an advocate within the community for the value of preservation. Good to see you, Mr. Knowles.
Come on in.
How are you today, sir?
Bless. Come on in.
All right.
Come on in. 60 years I've been in Portland, living in the same house, enjoying the house that I got married in. I lost my wife 2014, so everybody asks me, how old are you? I tell them, I'm 92 and I got stuff to do. Nowadays they go in their garage and do a video,
Right.
They're a star
Yeah.
overnight. But in those days you had to perform in front of a crowd, you build up your crowd, you go to the next city, the crowd might follow you to the next city. Pretty soon you got a name, you got a following, you know.
Yeah.
Then a record company hear about you and you sign. And so that's exactly what happened with some of our artists. They took off just boom.
Yeah, so Albina Music Trust has a number of programs, and one of them is an operating record label. We realized real quick that there were many recordings that existed from musicians in this community, oftentimes demos that were just put together so the band could get a gig, but with the lack of a recording industry here in town, they just never saw the light of day. We were about at our 8th or 9th release at this point. The first major project we did was the Gangsters LP, a lost reel-to-reel that had never been heard by many folks. It was put out in around 1970, we believe.
We have been talking about these lost tapes and no one could find them, right?
Whenever one of us would see each other, well, whatever happened to the master tapes, right? And for years, for 40 years, we were asking those questions.
So when he passed away a few years ago, my dear brother, Mr. Michael Cooper, his darling daughter, Michelle, she found the infamous Lost Gangsters tape.
Something told her, maybe Michael, to look in that box, and there at the bottom of the box was the master tapes for the Gangsters record. And that's how we ended up getting that record made. Thanks to Bobby, and that was pretty cool.
Every time you see me going somewhere, I know I'm going out of my mind, yeah.
We're not interested in keeping the material. If anything, we don't have space for it. so our goal is really just to digitize and make available, create access to the material.
We have some of the most dynamic musicians, some world-renowned, as we have Pleasure, which at the time we were playing, they were called the Soul Masters.
As we go around once again, the 360 degrees soulful sounds of Portland's own Pleasure from the album Special Things, spreading that good feeling around the Rose City town, hey, on a sunny day.
The Albina Trust has brought the history into the present. All these musicians together sharing stories. We're all connected. We're all connected here in Portland, Oregon.
The longest serving mayor in the city of Portland.
For the way we were. Oh, we remember the way we were.
only one person that can close this building the right way.
Take you one more time back to the Cotton Club. It's the only nightclub on the West Coast with wall-to-wall soul. Now y'all don't have to go home, but you gotta get out of here.